Hi everyone, welcome to this week's Ask AJ with me, Edward, and the lovely... It's always like an awkward moment, isn't it? It's like, do we introduce? They say their name. Crazy. Anyway, we hope you're all staying dry and warm where you are. I believe there's a bit of a storm coming, or it's here already because it's very wet and windy here at AJ HQ. So we thought it was a great opportunity to have a chat with everyone about how do we describe creating cosy vibes. Cosy vibes. So now we're coming into the winter. It's different sort of ideas on how potentially we could both showcase your home in terms of the marketing material, so brochures and photographs and all that kind of thing, and also how best to showcase your home during a viewing while it's all wet and windy and rather chilly outside, because it is a bit cold, isn't it?
It's chilly.
It's chilly.
Is that here by the windows?
So Lucy is our wonderful in-house designer, and Lucy is the one that puts together all the brochures and brings together all the photography and the text and everything that then forms the brochure and the listing. So what do you think, Lucy, in terms of when you've been looking at pictures and photos, what do you think makes cosy vibes in marketing material?
That's what we're running.
Well, that's what I'm doing, cosy vibes, AJ Cosy Vibes.
AJ Cosy Vibes.
That's going to say.
I think focusing in on sort of the photos where we've got sort of the fires roaring.
Yeah.
We've got a couple of examples here.
So you're probably not going to see it, I might stand up. Is that in shot? Yeah. So here we've got a really nice close-up of the fireplace, so that's like really welcoming, and then there's a bit of a throw over the end of the sofa, and nice big plump cushions, and then just to the side of that, you know, we've got a pot of coffee. Oh, that's nice.
Yeah, this one, we've got the fire pit roaring outside, and one of our twilight, I'm in shot now, twilight photos.
The fire pit's nice, isn't it?
Yeah, it is.
So you're creating that kind of lifestyle, but for the winter months. So, you know, house just isn't for the summer.
It's not.
It's for Christmas. But it's for the winter as well. So you want your buyers, potential buyers, to be able to envisage all year round at the home that they're looking at. But during those winter months, you don't want them to think, oh God, I'm going to feel a bit cold and you know, not quite as welcomed in a house as you would in the summer. So things like fire pits do really good. Fireplaces are, I'd say, the number one. I mean, it's a while since I've done viewings actually, but I think there was nothing better than a wet, windy day and then going into a really cosy house with a log fire burning. Both like the warmth, but the smell and the atmosphere and the glow, and then it's making those viewers want to stick around and stay in the house. So they really are, you know, enticing over the winter months. They're definitely, and they make for a nice photograph.
Exactly. Adding to that smell, like some lovely candles, what we've got set up here, getting all them lit, like low level lighting, if you can see that lamp there, putting all the lamps on, getting all your lights on, you know, making it feel warm and inviting, especially on days like today. I think also when I'm putting the brochure together, using words and titles, like, I don't know if you can see it in this one, it says snuggle down.
That's cute.
You know, cozy, like sort of creating that picture in your mind of
snuggling
how
in.
it feels.
Cozy vibes.
Cozy vibes.
Yeah, I think definitely what we've touched on there in terms of the lighting, fireplaces, candles, lamps, throws, anything like that sort of helps to create a more of a winter vibe for a house is super duper important. And I think the twilights themselves, I mean, Lucy touched on that one when she was showing like the fire pit and everything like that. That's quite a warm, enticing image, isn't it?
Definitely.
You know, it makes your house look very inviting on a wet, windy day to want to come on in. So all of that, you know, for the marketing is excellent. It's very enticing over the winter months. And then if you can kind of duplicate that for the viewing as well, to make your viewers want to stay in the house longer and to carry on looking around, is where it's really important. So I think some other sort of tips to think about over the winter months, particularly now it's so wet. We're definitely stocking up on umbrellas to take with us. So on that note, you know, it's nice in terms of having somewhere, you might have a porch, or a bit of utility space. So if your viewers that are coming in, you know, they might have had a bit of wet, windy travel or something getting there. If they've got space to put the brolly, that's really good. So you can make a, I don't know, little pot area, yeah. Have some space to maybe hang some coats, or you know, for them to be able to take their boots off. Make sure you've got a nice mat out front so that they can wipe their feet. Have an area for them to take the shoes off. I think it's really important.
Sort of like envisage how you would get home after a day, like, and what you would do with all your, you know, wet things, and how you would walk into the house and then store them.
Yeah, that's a really good point. You want them to think about day-to-day life. How would it work for me? I've come back from shopping and the kids, and it's raining outside, and you know, where do I put my boots and coats, and you know, you want that to be an easy process for them to think about. So that's really important. And I think the other thing we didn't touch on is not everyone has a fire, of course, and we want to think about keeping your viewers warm. So I personally think it's worse than going into a cold house, including my own house. So what you can do is, a lot of people, I mean, if you live at home, great, you know, put the heating on. If you know there's a viewing coming up, get it on, I don't know, an hour before, or half an hour, whatever, depending on how efficient it is, just to get the house warmed up. A lot of people now have Hive, and there's other reputable brands out there, but anything like that, you know, if you can remotely do it, if you're not in the area, to make sure that for the viewing you've got the heating on, or actually our team do it a lot. You know, we happily stop by a house in the morning, maybe on another viewing, get the heating on, and then it's warmed up for the afternoon with their reviewing or whatever. But I think that's really important. So just to, you know, factor that in. I know a lot of people have timers, don't they, on heating, so it actually comes on in the evening when you get home from work. If you know you've got a viewing taking place, maybe try and override that just for a short while, not for long, just to get rid of that initial chill. I think, because I have seen it. You know, when viewers go into a house and it's really cold, and you can just tell they want to get out and get back into their warm car. Whereas you actually want the opposite, don't you? You want them to stay in the house and feel warm. So they're kind of like our top tips, I think, as we go into the winter months.
You mentioned light bulbs.
Light bulbs. I thought you mentioned lamps.
I mentioned lamps, but...
Oh, you mean like warm white?
Yeah, like warm, and the important song.
Lisa's got a top tip number 10 for Cosy Vibes.
Cosy Vibes, bulbs, warm light preferably, makes it feel... less clinical. Dark and, exactly.
And warm.
Yeah, and just making sure that the bulbs work in, you know, some
That's
of the
such a good point.
lights.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because we do go, I mean, we take a stash of bulbs with us for photo shoots, but we do, of course, need to bring them back. But it's definitely, now it's darker, make note, you know, do a little previewing check. Go around your house, turn, you know, lights on and then off again, check that all your bulbs are working, so that then when you've got that viewing and you're showing your viewers around your house, when they go to click the light on, it does all actually light up and look nice, and we're not, you know, last minute looking around for a light bulb. But yeah, I agree, warm white makes a big difference. I mean, not necessarily for a kitchen, but I think if you're going into the bedroom, or if we're going to make more use of lamps, warm white is much more appealing.
Yeah, it gives the impression of like a fire, and
and all the feature lighting and things, I think, is great. You know,
just any lights you've got.
Make sure they work, and for the outside. So a lot of people have like porch lights or garden lights, because you know we still want to try and let people get outside and have a look at the gardens even though it's wet and maybe a bit dark. So make sure all that kind of lighting is working as well. And I think in terms of the order of a viewing, when it is this kind of weather, start inside, let your viewers warm up, and then go outside. Because also you don't want them getting maybe potentially really muddy and wet and then traipsing that back through the house potentially. Or certainly, you know, make sure they get their shoes taken off and come back in to warm up again. And in terms of the fire, have a little stash of logs. You know, so that whoever's showing around, because some viewings can, you know, last up to an hour, maybe longer. So whoever's showing people around, they can just throw an extra log on and have it ready to go.
Looks good as well.
It does.
Logs, cozy vibes.
Yeah, it does look nice. And the autumn colours, I think they're coming in now. It's a really beautiful time of year to showcase a home. I remember there was one up at Grasmere that we did last year, the year before, and we got some beautiful aerial photography of the house. It kind of sat within the middle of this woodland. I the lake and all the golden colours were like the backdrop. So it is a really pretty time of year, but it could still be cold. So all the things we mentioned today about heating and having fires and all that kind of stuff and candles, they still make a real difference. But I do think for photography, I know a lot of people frown upon, don't they, like selling it in the winter and autumn. But I think it's beautiful.
Autumn's my favourite.
Yeah, and mine.
All the colours and even the sunsets and things. Yeah.
So if you're thinking of maybe selling your house, or you just want some advice, or just have a chat, do give the team a call, and it could be potentially Tom, our sales manager, that will come out and meet you and discuss all this in more detail, and show you some of these brochures and ideas that we'd have showcase in your house, or chat with the Cosy Vibe gang, and we can give you some top tips as well. Cosy duo, nice. But for now, we hope you stay warm and dry wherever you are, and some team will see you next week for the next